The tipping culture in America is out of control. What do you mean I've just got a bottle of water out the fridge myself, gone up to the till, and they've asked me if I want to tip them? What did they do? I got the water myself.
If you don't have money to tip your server and you go out to eat and don't tip your server, I have zero respect for you.
I'm not tipping. Sorry. You're entitled and lazy if you're mad about that. You get paid what you get paid for the job that you're doing. I'm not tipping you. Unless you give me some really out of the park service, you don't deserve a tip.
You guys think tipping culture is out of control? The other day I locked myself out of my apartment, so I had to call the locksmith. And they told me on the phone it was going to be $130. They show up and there's another $30 charge, so it's $165 now. I'm paying for it begrudgingly. And then he had the audacity to flip the tablet over to me for a tip! You know what 15% of $165 is? It's $25. For a 5-minute job they're already getting paid near $200 for. In what world would I say yes?
I'm sorry, y'all don't have to agree with me. I never gave a fuck. I am not tipping you for some shit that is really not even tippable. That never fucking before the last 3 years, would anyone ever have thought about asking for a tip for. I'm sorry, it's not happening. Service providers are one thing. Okay, tattoo artists, cosmetologists, estheticians, hairdressers, makeup artists, whatever. That's one thing. Okay, servers, delivery drivers, even like sometimes if I'm ordering takeout or I'm picking up a to-go order, expos, because I've served, I've expoed, I've hosted. I get it, sure. Drive-through, no. Fuck no. I'm sorry. Ben and Jerry's for a fucking scoop of ice cream? No. It's not happening.
Listen, this may ruffle some feathers, and I quite honestly don't give a fuck. We're experiencing a tipping epidemic in this country, and people have lost their minds. When I grew up, I was born in 98, okay? Whatever generation you want to consider me a part of, that's the year that I was born. It was normalized to tip when you were provided a service. So you would go to a restaurant, you would sit down, you would get waited on, you would leave a tip. I would get my nails done at the salon, acrylic little nails with my tips at 16 years old. I would throw her a $5 tip. She'd do a pedicure, I'd throw her a $5 tip. Now it is normalized to tip for everything. For everything. Why on earth would I tip you when I'm going through the drive-thru to get a motherfucking coffee, okay? How does that make any fucking sense, okay? That's problem number one. Problem number two is when they used to flip that stupid fucking iPad around, it would be 10%, 15%, max 20%. I just went to a coffee shop in St. Pete, okay? I walk up to the counter, I order my 2 fucking coffees, right? She swivels, turns around the motherfucking iPad, and it's at 25, 30, and 35. I almost dropped dead on the floor. Because what the fuck do you mean you want a $7 tip on my fucking 2 iced lattes? Have you lost your damn marbles? And I understand it's not obviously the girl at the register. It has nothing to do with her. It's whoever owns the fucking damn coffee shop, right? Whoever set up that POS system. But we have lost our fucking mind.
I don't know what's going on with these hair companies, but they must be smoking a large amount of crack, because count your days, yummy hair extensions. You better be glad that I needed this closure. But how dare you even ask me to support your team and tip them when you're charging $165 for a 2x6 closure? And then you charge me $25 for shipping. I just spent over $200 for a closure, and you think I'm gonna tip your team? You're making plenty of money. Pay them.
Guys, when did tipping culture become so insane? Earlier today, I was getting ice cream with my sister and my dad. We only got 2 things. We got one in a cup, one in a cone. It was already $19, including tax. And then you know how the cashier flips the screen around and it like has an option to tip? I swear, like just a couple of years ago, the options were like 15%, 18%, 20%. Why is it 20%, 22%, 25% now? Since when is anyone tipping 25% of the bill? That makes no sense. And now I'm a college kid, so like, I'm not very good at tipping. I'll admit it. If I'm at a coffee shop, ice cream shop, even at a self-serve restaurant, I'm not tipping anyone because I can spend that money on something else. But that's besides the point. Why are we getting greedy now? In a lot of places, minimum wage is much higher now. And I'm not gonna tip you $5 for scooping my ice cream. Also, I think just like after going to Europe for the first time, I'm like, damn, like, US tipping culture is getting out of hand. I'm excited to study abroad in the fall. I'll tell you that much.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but tipping culture is out of control and we need to do something about it. I was at a bar the other night and the door guy asked me for a tip on my cover charge. Like the $10 you pay to get into the bar, I put it on my debit card and then he slides me the iPad and it's like, tips are appreciated. And it was auto set to 20, 22, and 25% tip on a cover charge. And like, listen, I get this guy makes no money, right? So if I were him, I'd probably be asking for tips too. But as a consumer, I cannot afford a 20% surcharge on every single aspect of my experience when I leave my house. Like if I'm expected to individually tip every single employee at a bar or restaurant, then I just can't go there. And if enough people start feeling that way, and I kind of, whenever I complain about this, people agree, so I think we're getting there. It's like, that's how local economies tank, actually. That's how bars and restaurants go under, because like I just can't afford.
Tipping culture is getting out of hand. Before you come for me, hear me out. I am all for people getting the tip for the services that they provide. I consider myself an amazing tipper. I usually tip between 20-22%. Depends on like how the service is. 18% the least. That's how much I will give. So today I went and I got my nails done at the regular nail place that I've been going for the last 3 years, right? But my nail tech wasn't in today, but I really wanted to get it done. So this other person did my nails. She did good. I think I got what I wanted, which is like I wanted a fun nail because I usually do like neutral. So I just wanted some color with a little bit of flowers and stuff on it. And I think she did a really good job. But then they were like, okay, it's 70. So I'm like, no problem here. And then I remembered I had cash on me. I had $11 cash on me. So I give her the $11 cash. And then she goes, that's it? Like, what do you mean that's it? I'm sorry. I'm like, what? $11? I think that's like, come on. I don't know. I just feel like now I'm like feeling bad. I'm like, should I have asked them to charge my card more so that I could give her more tip or whatever? But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think.
Tipping culture in America is really out of hand because someone tips you $11 and you're so unappreciative. You're asking, just $11? Why can't you just appreciate? Because they are tipping you for the service you've offered. It's from the goodness of their heart. And why are we setting the tipping percentage? 25%, 35%, I don't know, 40%. It should be giving because you want to give, not a mandatory payment. It's starting to sound like a tax.
I had commented on a post about somebody who is like a grocery driver that was complaining about not getting tipped, and I said that tipping is an option, not a requirement. And the amount of people that are not understanding that life is about choices and they chose to be a driver for the service is insane. Like, people really don't understand that tipping is not a requirement. Like, tipping is based off of the work that you do. If you provide piss poor service, if you're never getting the things right, if you're like replacing it with stuff that doesn't even make sense, why would I tip you? Why would I do that? And yeah, I can go to the store myself. I do. I don't even use grocery delivery service. But the point of the matter is, like, you chose a job that you know people don't guarantee a tip. Get over it or get a new job.
I have to go up to order. I'm not tipping.
I don't know how it is in other cities, but in New York City, tipping culture has gone out of control. I went to a coffee shop in Brooklyn, Williamsburg. Let's be fucking specific. The barista turns the iPad and the options are 29%, 39%, and 49% tip. So what you're telling me is on my $5 coffee, I should be tipping half the... What am I tipping for? Why are people not being paid what they're supposed to be paid? I stood there in shock, like in actual shock that 49% was like that it was an option on this iPad. There's a tip for everything. These iPads are swiveling around in my face anytime I buy something. I'm buying things at a cash register at a regular retail store, and it's like, do you want a tip? For what? I went, I found the object myself, I brought it to the register. What am I tipping for?
So good job, tourists coming to New York City. You've pissed off the bars and the restaurants, and frankly, I love it myself. So here in the United States, where the tip culture has gotten so out of hand that even self-service at supermarkets now include a tip option, I kid you not, that is really a thing now. The tourists that have come to New York City from other countries where they don't have a tip culture are not leaving tips at the bars. And because of the way the system works here in the US, the fact that studio apartments in New York City can run you between $2,500 and $3,500 a month US, which by Euro standards would be about $2,200 to about $3,100 a month for a studio, by the way, not even a first one bedroom. The wait staff is paid below minimum wage because it is legal. All of you out there probably know this. All of you mock that. I'm not blaming you on the slightest. On my side, I have that reverse counterculture thing where I go to places like England, France, Japan, and I don't have to pay it. And by the way, I want to point out additionally, a lot of times your tax is built in. So if the bill says 15 euros, it's 15 euros, not 15 plus tax. So that's something that's a little bit of an adjustment. Props to you guys for that. But what's happening now is that a lot of the restaurants and the bars are adding a mandatory 20% gratuity to offset for the lack of tips. So that $30 burger and fries that you got, which actually sincerely is actually how much it's running in a lot of places in Manhattan, not even like the upscale places, just the average places, that $30 burger and fries is now going to run you about $36. That $15 beer is going to run you probably, 18, 19, however the math works out. So the good news for you is you don't have to sit there and figure out the tip calculator. You don't need one. They're doing it for you. And yeah, it's just going to get more expensive.
So Americans, if you knew that was the money you wanted for the food and service we just received, why didn't you just price it at that to begin with? Why are you suggesting tip? Suggested for this amount? Why are we suggesting? If you knew that's the money you wanted, I don't understand why you left it to the goodness of someone's heart. Tipping culture is stupid. It will forever be stupid. I do not care how united your states are. Tipping culture is ridiculous. My birthday meal that I had with my friends, I think it came up to about $350 something without the tip. And then they suggested a $60 tip, which brought it to $400 and in the teens, let's say $415. Now, to put into perspective, we went to a very nice restaurant. We had sushi. We each had appetizers, mains, dessert, and an alcoholic drink. That's how much we had, yeah? For all of that to come to, let's say, with their tip, $415, that's just over £300. Between three people, that's us spending just over £100 each. That's a normal price for that kind of meal in London. For like a dress-up birthday dinner, you've eaten that much. That's a normal price for the meal that we had. Why didn't you just price it that way to begin with? Why have you then priced the food and now it's, suggested tip? If you knew that's the money you wanted for the service you were providing, why didn't you just ask for that to begin with? Because now you're leaving it up to chance. You're doing up, if you can, it would really be appreciated. But it's not really appreciated because it's almost something you have to do. And if it's something you have to do, why didn't you just price your stuff that way to begin with? It's just so stupid to me. Because now the part of my bill that is voluntary, what if I don't feel the need to volunteer? You can't keep leaving things to the goodness of people's hearts. What if their heart is not good? Come to London, they'll charge you £120 per person for that with chest. They don't mind. They will charge you that. They're not leaving it to chance of your feeling like giving us more money today. Such a stupid culture.
Y'all, tipping has gotten out of hand. Let me preface this before y'all come at me. I was a server. As a host, I did expo, I did all the things. I worked in the service industry for years. So whenever I go out to eat or whenever I order takeout, I always tip really good. Always been the case. I know what it's like. So when I went to order takeout last night, there was already a gratuity added on. Cool, great, we love to see it. I also added an additional tip into this thing, okay? But when I tell you I nearly lost my mind when I showed up to pick up my order. I picked it up, it was not delivered. And they handed me this nice little receipt. Additional tip, a third time to tip on the same order. And when I did not sign this, the employee looked at me like I had just ruined his entire day. Sir, I am not going to tip you for a third time. What are we doing? This is ridiculous. Now, I get it. Y'all deserve the money, but 3 times?
Okay, I am sitting at Sonic, and I never tip at Sonic, ever. Not even a keep the change tip, ever. But I get the same lady every single time. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is. I get her every single time. And she used to be so nice to me. But now, she doesn't even talk to me when she comes up to the stall. And I'm wondering if she feels entitled to a tip. And I'm like, I'm not tipping at Sonic. No, that's crazy. And so she literally, I'm so nice. I'm like, oh my God, please, thank you. Like, thank you so much. Blah, 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 blah. Like, asking her about her day. And like, now she doesn't even look at me. She doesn't even give me straw anymore sometimes. That's crazy. But I'm gonna keep coming.
The American tipping culture is so financially predatory. It actually makes me sick when I see working class people defend it. Like, can some Americans tell me why you still tolerate this? Can you imagine a British company telling its customers that, yeah, we're going to pay our workers less, and you, the customer, have to now pay the workers' wages, and if you don't, then you're the bad person? The fuck? Who decided that's the moral thing to do? Like, tipping should be for exceptional service, not to make up the fact that your employer isn't paying you a wage. I completely get why, like, a waiter would be upset by not getting a tip, because obviously if they rely on it, I completely get it. But the issue is with the system. Like, the fact that an employer can just tell someone, yeah, you're only going to be paid in tips. How is that legal? Like, how is it legal to pay someone below minimum wage, but then say it's going to be made up by tips? No. Pay them a fair wage, and then the tips should be on top. The tip shouldn't, like, am I losing my mind here? And we're going to see someone in the comments defending this. That's the funniest thing. Someone is going to defend this very, very predatory, financially predatory culture just because, I don't know, they've been brainwashed.
I'm so over tipping. It's gone too far. And so here's my new perspective, my new strategy when it comes to tipping. Number 1, I am not tipping anywhere where they ask me to tip before I experience the service. For example, I went and got a $9 smoothie the other day, and right when I was like ordering my smoothie, I was like, oh, I'll get the breakfast smoothie. Then they're like, okay, it's just gonna ask you a few questions. The answer is no. 1, y'all haven't made my smoothie. 2, I haven't tasted my smoothie. 3, I don't even know if I'm gonna like this smoothie yet. Why am I tipping? Like, I'm not tipping. Also, it's a smoothie. It's not like a sit-down restaurant. Like, what are we doing? There's a lot of places that make sense to tip, like restaurants. You experience the food, you experience the service, you're sitting down, you're being served. Of course you leave a tip there. But again, that tip is based off the experience, okay? Same thing, nail salons. You get your nails done, you pay and you tip based off the service, okay? I'm not tipping preemptively. So that goes for coffee shops where they turn it around, ask you questions, ice cream shops, anywhere like that. Ice cream shops alone is just a no for me. You scooped my ice cream for 15 seconds and put it in a cup. Like, no. You guys are paid hourly, like hourly rates. If they're not enough, talk to your employer. But why is that burden being put on the consumers? I will never understand. As a business owner, imagine if every single time you guys bought a planner from my site, it was like, oh, just leave a tip. Leave a tip for what? We hand make all your planners, and I'm still like, leave a tip for what? No.
If you're going to eat out, you need to tip.
Why do you think that?
Do you realize I get paid $2 an hour because I make more in tips than I would if they paid me minimum wage? It's your fault!
How come it's always the poor working class fighting the poor working class?
What chance do you think I have going against a big food corporation? If you have enough money to eat out, you have enough money to tip me.
Well, hear me out. If the problem is with the managers not giving them enough pay.
Do you not understand? If nobody tipped, I'd be making minimum wage like everybody else.
Okay, why are we paying for it?
Because other people felt guilt-tripped into doing it, so you should too. Like we have a toxic tipping culture in America.
Okay, but let's be very frank here.
What?
Many people tip because they feel pressured, because for some reason, other poor people are also mad at them for being poor. When it's the employer's fault.
I know they work hard for their money just like me, but my bills are more important than their bills.
No one's entitled to anybody's money. That's the thing.
Are you calling me entitled? Look, I just want to be compensated well for my time. Everyone should tip.
If somebody tips, they're doing it because they want to give, because maybe they have something extra to give.
That's not enough! I need them to tip 20%.
If you're struggling and she's struggling, do you not think other people are struggling?
Well, if they're struggling, it sounds like they can't afford to eat out. Can't tip.
They
Stay
clearly
home.
could afford to eat out because they just paid for their meal. They clearly could afford it.
If you can't afford to tip 20% of the meal you already paid the full cost for, then you can't afford to eat out. It's their fault. My employer hates
How is it other poor people's fault?
It's too late. I've already convinced the internet to go after poor
Just
people.
leave, man.
Shame on you.
How are y'all on his side?
She needs to pay her bills. You need to tip.
I always tip 79%.
Everybody, kill him.
And the tipping culture today in America is getting out of hand. Everybody expects a tip, and it's so crazy. Like, what did you even do? Like, today, I walk into Dunkin' Donuts, getting my usual 2 strawberry frosted donuts because I'm a fucking savage, and the lady at the counter says $4.38. No problem. But now, here is the problem. She flips the screen around, and all I see is 15%, 20%, 25%, and custom. And she's looking at me dead serious, straight-faced, like I'm supposed to tip. And in my head, I'm thinking, like, what? What am I tipping for? Like, why are you looking at me like this? All you did was just put 2 donuts in a bag. And I swear, bro, the look that she was giving me, it seemed like she was going to give me that Will Smith smack to Chris Rock type of treatment. So I didn't want any of that. So I ain't gonna lie, I folded and I tipped 15%. And don't get me wrong, I believe in, like, tipping, like, servers, bartenders, or delivery drivers, like, people's jobs who really depend on the tipping. But when you're doing something as simple as just putting 2 donuts in a bag for me, I feel like you just don't deserve a tip at all. Like, am I bugging, bro? Like, you don't deserve nothing. You didn't do shit. I could have grabbed them donuts myself and put it in the bag. Like, bro, what?
So how do you handle tipping when you have something delivered to your house? For instance, I'm not talking about food like DoorDash. I'm talking about, like, I ordered something from Walmart and it was one item and it was shipped to my house. It wasn't something that was part of a grocery delivery. And when the lady showed up to deliver it to me, she knocked on my door and waited on the porch. Well, I thought that was odd because normally when I have a delivery, they just set it on the porch and they leave. Well, I opened the door and she had a thick accent and she asked me if I was going to give her cash. And I was a little taken aback because I've never been asked for a tip before, especially for something that was being delivered to me from a shipment. So I just kind of looked at her and I asked her to repeat herself. And she said it again. She points at her phone and she says, "You give me cash." And I said, "I'm not understanding what you're," because she was pointing at something specific on her phone. Well, I didn't have my glasses on. I can't read without my glasses. So I looked at her phone and she's pointing at her phone. And I said, "I'm sorry, ma'am, I can't read that without my glasses on." Well, what she was pointing at, she says, she said enough of what it said that I realized what she meant. In my description of where to leave my groceries when I do a big Walmart grocery order, it says that I will give an extra tip if nothing's missing. And then it says, please check under your seats to make sure nothing's rolled under your seats. And the reason I did that is because I went through a period of like a year where every single grocery order I got was missing items. And I knew it wasn't the store. It had to have been the driver. There had to have been stuff getting lost under their seats. So I put that I would give an extra tip if there was nothing missing, which I did do. And I still do. And it's still on there and I still do that. Well, she points at this, and I guess because of the fact she was delivering it from Walmart, she was seeing the same instructions that they see when they do a grocery order. So I was confused, and I really didn't know what to say because I'm not going to tip for that. And I just said, "Oh, no." I said, "That's for my grocery order. This was a separate delivery." And she said, "Oh, so you aren't going to tip me?" And I said, "No, those notes are for my grocery delivery." And she just kind of got an attitude and she walked away. And I came in the house and then I started feeling guilty. And I was like, should I have tipped her? And then I was like, first of all, I wouldn't have tipped someone who asked for a tip anyway. It could have been a DoorDash driver delivering me some freaking McDonald's. And if they ask for a tip, I'm not giving them a tip. As a matter of fact, if I tip in the app and then they ask for a tip, I will take that tip away because rude. So I wasn't really sure how to handle it. But then I started second guessing it. And I thought, do people get tipped for delivering items that are shipped? Like, we're not talking, she didn't go in the store and buy it for me and bring it to me. It was like in a shipping, like a box in a container. So anyway, what do you think about that? What would you have done?
I might get backlash for this, but can somebody exactly tell me why we need to tip beauty services? Because the tip culture in the US has gone insane. Sit down restaurants, I could understand because they get a very low wage and you get everything serviced. You ask them for anything, they'll get it to you. But beauty services, like getting your nails done, getting your hair done, and I get them done often. I always tip 20%. But in my brain, I'm following more of the societal pressure rather than it making sense in my head. For example, I get my hair done, let's say haircut, hair dye, $200. It's a set price that the artist made. I am paying for the service for you to dye my hair, cut my hair, whatever. Attaching 20% tip on top of all the service that's already been quoted would make sense if they went out of their way to give an exceptional service. Most salons, nail places don't give you snacks, drinks, maybe water if you ask for it. 99% of the time, beyond the services that I paid, getting your nails done or your hair, there's nothing beyond that deserves like extra $40, $50 on top of that. And these days, beauty services are more demanding for 20% tips than like restaurants that I've been to. Or at like skincare clinics that you go to in New York City, they get mostly paid hourly wage, right? And so why are we tipping at places that already get hourly wage or they get to set their prices? Now, there are beauty clinics that I go to that give exceptional service and I am more than happy to tip, of course. But most of the places that you go to don't do exceptional out of their way service that equals gratuity. Like that's the purpose of gratuity, right? The service extra culture beyond restaurants is non-existent, and yet we're paying for tips because of societal pressure. That's the part that I don't understand.
Tipping should be an option. It should not be a requirement. What are your thoughts? You can leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one.